So overnight, it went from me getting Marvel ads, Tim Horton ads, McDonald's ads, to getting Crypto Bros, mobile games, all that kind of shit, to nothing. I don't get ads anymore on Twitter. Space Karen, Space Daddy, I should say, has created an ideal platform for me ad-wise. I have an ad-free experience. I don't have to pay to use it. I still get the check mark. He didn't take that away from me. So really, it upgraded my personal experience. Instead of the fact that the whole thing feels like it's got a bunch of frat boy ghosts like stuck inside the code now. Like every now and then it just like glitches out, and then, you know, the Coca-Cola will appear and it's the actual verified account. And it's like, hey, we're putting cocaine back in all the Coca-Cola. And then it just vanishes. Elon Musk tweeted out today that part of today will be turning off the microservices bloatware. Less than 20% are actually needed for Twitter to work. Which, okay. So then someone says, don't log out of Twitter if you've been too FA. The microservice for it has been shut down. You won't be able to log back in. So apparently that is the thing that just happened. If you haven't been following the saga, obviously Elon Musk is having a bad week. I posted a video about it on the TikTok. TikTok is a Twitter. And then TikTok silenced my free speech. And it's gone. So here's where we're at. Elon Musk, the world's smartest man, decides, hey, I'm going to meme about buying Twitter, and then meme about buying it at a very high amount. And then he's going to be sued by Twitter, who in turn, after the lawsuit, demanded that there's some discovery that starts going back and forth. The discovery leaks texts that are so embarrassing to Elon that rather than go through with the lawsuit, he's like, okay, fine, I'll buy Twitter at an outrageously inflated price. Twitter was valued at around $9 billion, and he bought it for about 44. So he comes in there and he's like, you know what? I'm going to turn this into a fine oiled machine, and I'm going to make it back because I'm a big brain super genius, 9,000 IQ. So what does he do? He implements his vision. First, he cuts the staff, cuts all the senior executives. That's not weird. Any normal person would do that because you want people who are obviously going to be in tune, but you'd also have people prepared to take over those positions. You wouldn't just cut all the senior executive staff and not have other members instead of just making you the sole decision maker on the board. But sure, if you want to be the sole vision behind this, that's on you now, Elon. So that happens. Then he cuts half the workforce and a lot of essential people who, of course, are needed to run the website. But then they're like, hey, come back. Please come back. And then that no one comes back, which also massive problem. So that's not great. And in the midst of all this, all of a sudden, you have people coming forward who are like, Mr. Musk, we can't work these crazy hours. We can't do these 14, 18-hour, nights. This is a little too much. And also, you're asking for things that'll probably have devastating effects if you switch and then implement your idea to put the verified check marks, and anyone can have that power. It could have disastrous effects. Impersonation could run rampant. And he's like, no. This will actually solve the problem because it'll get rid of all the bots, because no one will actually spend $8 to be able to be on this website. So, also this will save my entire business because people will pay $8 to be on this website. And then, of course, the impersonations happened, as you just saw, the disaster. Whole thing is on fire. He's bleeding in terms of the operations of the staff. Multiple people have left. I think every senior advisor or position has been vacated. The remaining people are being asked to basically, the engineers especially, break FTC regulations, which I hope they're not doing, but I can't speak to them. So what's the next move? What would be the next 4D chess move from the world's smartest man? And it turns out it's turning your taxpayer dollars into fixing his problems. So Elon Musk's SpaceX is buying an ad package on Elon Musk's Twitter. So now SpaceX is going to fill the void because all the advertisers are like, see ya. I don't want anything to do with this. This is a flaming dumpster. The N-word went up 500% on like the first day. I don't want anything to do with this. So now the void gets filled with SpaceX. Now, SpaceX, as of right now, sells merch, and they promise the sale of future trips to the moon and stuff like that. But they haven't completely figured out how to make it 100% safe. And there's not really a giant market for the billionaires being like, I want to kind of test out whether or not you can safely land one of your rockets. And this isn't one of the many of them that explode. So I'm not entirely sure what the ads will be advertising. Maybe just the concept of SpaceX, or maybe they're going to be ads for the government to petition them to give SpaceX more money. Because the success of SpaceX in large part has been you Americans' taxpayer dollars, like to the tune of billions and billions. And that's just a system and a program that exists, in that if you want to aid in the development of technology, especially space exploration and stuff like that, there are huge amounts of government grants and subsidies that are given, and he's taken a very good advantage of that in making his dream of being the super spaceman, space Karen, if you will. But it doesn't look good in terms of the whole cycle that would be working. SpaceX Starlink bought a tiny, not large, ad package to test the effectiveness of Twitter advertising in Australia and Spain, Musk wrote. His remarks came after CNBC reported that Musk had ordered one of the larger advertising packages available from Twitter for SpaceX, citing unnamed sources who had viewed the internal documents related to the matter. SpaceX did not respond to CNN Business request for comment. So, I mean, this could hopefully diversify his investments. Some could describe it as money laundering with taxpayer dollars, which would make things slightly more complicated. Not the best. Also, the whole free speech thing on Twitter isn't working out. So this is Eric Fraunhofer with a hot take. So he's responding to Musk. Musk said, by the way, I'd like to apologize for Twitter being super slow in many countries. App is doing better than 1,000 poorly batched RPCs just to render a home timeline. And he says, I've spent the last 6 years working on Twitter for Android and can say this is wrong. And then Money Nerd Techie, I've been a developer for 20 years, and I can tell you that as a domain expert here, you should inform your boss privately. Trying to one-up him in public while he is trying to learn and be helpful makes you look like a spiteful, self-serving dev. No, the leader of a $44 billion company shouldn't be airing out his issues, especially with staff, publicly. It should be in a Slack channel, something like that, because maybe you should ask questions privately, maybe using Slack or email. Elon Musk, with this kind of attitude, you probably don't want this guy on your team. He's fired. You fucking snitches. Goddamn snitches. All these Elon Musk fans, the weird nerds, all of you. Like, all of you are still jumping, everything he does is benevolent, he's a disruptor, it's just so wild. So wild. Oh yeah, this was the other part of the story I wanted to talk about.
Now to a CNN exclusive interview with our very own Chloe Melas. In a wide-ranging interview, Amazon's founder, Jeff Bezos, is opening up about politics, philanthropy, and the economy. He and his partner, Lauren Sanchez, also tell CNN they're writing a $100 million check to the legendary country singer Dolly Parton to help her advance her own charity work. Watch.
Talk to me about choosing Dolly Parton.
Well, look at what she's done and how she's led her life. And the way she's done it, these bold things, always with civility and kindness. She's a unifier. You know, we have big problems in the world.
So it was announced today that Amazon is laying off 10,000 employees. It's happening. Yeah, they're cutting 10,000 jobs. 10,000 people just lost the health care for the kids. 10,000 people just lost their income and their livelihoods. Yeah. So, if you are doing the whole benevolent billionaire thing, where you're like, hey, by the way, everybody, I'm going to be giving away all of my money. Yeah, not yet. There's a lot of fun to be had. A lot of, humans to hunt for sport, but I will be doing it down the road. Eventually, it's happening. Well, you could do it now. You could start now, at least. I mean, those 10,000 people, you could give them ownership in the company. You could give a lot of people ownership in the company, actually. You could give the employees of Amazon the company. If you want to give away your wealth and your business, instead of just leaving it in the hands of a dictatorship under you, it's one thing.
And the way to get big problems done is you have to work together. We have too many examples in the world of conflict and people using ad hominem attacks on social media and so on and so on. You won't find Dolly Parton doing that.
And when you think of Dolly, look, everyone smiles, right? And all she wants to do is bring light into other people's world. That's all. And so we couldn't have thought of someone better than to give this away.
Who is and will be even more attainable.
This whole thing feels like, what's that movie, Brazil?
In the future. Look, one of the things that I don't like about the current environment is that I think there's a lot of division. I think that people use conflict as a tool to achieve their own ends. I don't think it's a good tool. We see sometimes in our political sphere, certain politicians criticize other politicians.
Terry
They
Gilliam.
criticize their motives, their character. They call them names. Once you've done that, it's hard.
So it's true, by the way. The one thing this has taught all of us has been that, it gets under their skin. There's no amount of money. They've all become these bizarre sociopaths where they don't see human beings as anything other than basically creatures to extract value from. And that's how they see all of us, right? But at the same time, they can't buy being beloved, and they can't buy not being roasted online. And so it's like, even Elon Musk, he tried. He was like, I people are making fun of me on the Bird app. Well, I'm going to buy the Bird app, and then I own them. And it's like, right now he's getting roasted by the Bird app. He's responding to Bernie Sanders being like, actually, the price of insulin has to be high because of this. And then like his own app is self-correcting him because he can't change the code because he fired all the fucking engineers who would be able to do that. So he has no idea how to. So he can't even turn it off. It's not like he has a power switch. Like he could tell his staff that remains, like, I take that off. And they could be like, we can't do that. Like, honestly, unless you want to shut down significant elements of the entire website and how it operates, you fired most of the staff who would know how to do this. Most of the engineers who would know how to actually affect this. And even if you wanted to, it's not something they could do right away. It will take a long time for the remaining staff, the few amount who are here, to code enough of that to be able to implement it and then introduce it into the system, broadly speaking, so that it's going to be mass adopted. And then there will be a slow introduction because the whole system is shutting down in real time. So sir, we can't do this. So you're getting corrected in real time. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. It's like, it's such a fucking lifting of the veil, because, and I hope that this keeps happening, because the Reddit thread right now, I was looking at his own, like the subreddit for Elon Musk, they are roasting the motherfucker. Like, so many of them have turned on him. Let me pull up the screenshots that I took. Yeah. So check this out. It's a mix of them either doing like full-on memes on him, like, you know, this one, except this one's Elon on Twitter one. So I was like, yeah, that's pretty typical, seeing that. Then posting stories like Tesla says it will assist police probe into fatal crash in China. Here's how Elon Musk's new paid certification system has caused chaos on Twitter. The launch of the new system was accompanied by an explosion of identity theft on the social network, forcing Twitter to suspend the service. Other weird memes. The moment when you were fascinated and disgusted at the same time. The user, Elon Musk, Twitter. And then asking if he was telling the truth about memeing the whole thing. Do you think Elon did it on purpose for the memes? No, I think Elon didn't listen to anyone, fired anyone who would have told him otherwise, and made himself the sole fucking visionary of the website. And yeah, the articles, like, anyone who wants to feel clever about this, myself included, because I think there's now the majority of the left who would be able to be like, I told you so. I told you, implementing the ideas you are trying to implement, everything from across the board, from firing half the staff immediately without having, like, you know, staff trained and ready to go to be able to replace them in large positions, just thinking that you can treat this company the same way you would treat any company, where it's like, all right, let's trim the fat, we'll fire half the staff, we'll get rid of them, we'll get rid of that, and not risk the fact that many major heads of development would just walk off, as well as senior engineers, as well as like key people in positions where you can't just restart this. You can't just be like, all right, well, I'll fill it up with scabs. It's like, no, the onboarding of this would take months and months. You can't do this the same. It's not a fire sales style company. This is big tech. You can't do the free speech thing because the whole thing operates on ad revenue. So if you freak out the advertisers, which they will be freaked out just by the very definition of you coming on board, you being this grand persona, and then walking into the room with the, like, let that sink in. Yeah, all the heads of advertising were letting that sink in. They were all sitting there being like, oh, fuck. Well, this is a very small buy compared to everything else. We spend very little on Twitter. All we have to do is log into the account, hit pause, and then see where this goes. Just gonna hit pause. So overnight, it went from me getting Marvel ads, Tim Horton ads, McDonald's ads, to getting Crypto Bros, mobile games, fucking all that kind of shit, to nothing. I don't get ads anymore on Twitter. Space Karen, Space Daddy, I should say, has created an ideal platform for me ad-wise. I have an ad-free experience. I don't have to pay to use it. I still get the check mark. You didn't take that away from me. So really, it upgraded my personal experience. Instead of the fact that the whole thing feels like it's got a bunch of frat boy ghosts, like, stuck inside the code now. Like, every now and then it just, like, glitches out, and then, you know, the Coca-Cola will appear, and it's the actual verified account. And it's like, hey, we're putting cocaine back in all the Coca-Cola. And then it just vanishes, like, and then just like a ghost, it's just gone. And you're like, whoa, this whole place seems really weird now. But yeah, I mean, yeah, Elon did that. This is the fucking fun part. All of this is the funny part. This is all hilarious, especially because it's teaching so many people that billionaires are not smarter than you. Like, these CEOs, like, at least Bezos, you could say he's a competent CEO, if nothing else. Elon Musk is just the same thing as Steve Jobs. It's like, I will demand people much smarter than me, like Steve Wozniak, go accomplish incredible things and meet my tight deadlines. because I'm a genius. I'm a visionary. I want there to be cybernetic fuck robots and dragons and make it happen. And everyone's like, well, no, you have a hyperinflated car company. The value of Tesla being, what, like 800, 900 doesn't make sense. You don't produce enough cars. Real car companies have much lower value. So this is weird. Sir, I just don't do this. If everyone finds out that you're a fraud, everything crumbles. Like now Tesla stock is in free fall. You've lost all the gains you made over the last year because everyone is like, investors like, oh, wait, he's not some kind of space genius. He's just an evil nerd. You know? So that part's pretty wild. Where it's going to go from here, well, I just saw that apparently the website might not be usable by the end of the week, according to a New York professor. I don't know if that New York professor is going to make an accurate prediction. I don't see the whole site disappearing, though. I see, like, it just being fire-sailed to, like, Tencent. Like, or something like that, or flipped. Right? Not just, like, disappearing overnight. I'm trying to see if there's any updates, but will seem to be the latest ones in terms of people roasting him. But yeah, I can see someone just buying this whole site for like $5 bill. I mean, like, yeah, I can make it. I'll buy it for $5 bill, and then hopefully the whole thing just gets like the old staff decide to come back. The other thing about Elon Musk, by the way, is that Elon Musk is one of the biggest names who's associated and tied everyone in that whole fan of Elon Musk side to investing in crypto. And now with cryptocurrency crashing at the same time, like, the saddest thing about this all is that Elon Musk, he might be fucked. He could have some really big trouble from the FTC. He might lose like a lot of his wealth. But for the majority of the rest of them, Mark Zuckerberg, Jeffrey Bezos, nothing's going to happen. They're going to stay some of the richest human beings ever. They can fire 10,000 members of their staff, even though they had a terrible idea, and still be okay. For the people who made the most money off cryptocurrency, they're out. In terms of like having huge risk right now, they'll buy the dip if it gets even lower, and then they'll be fine. It's the tens of thousands of dudes on the internet hoping to become rich because like the Fresh and Fit podcast or Andrew Tate or Elon Musk made them believe that this would be the pathway to wealth and success. Because you got these very quick dopamine rushes last year where Doge was a real story. Doge went from being a fraction of a cent to being a cent to being 5 cents to being 60 cents. At which point, you must have been sitting there being like, everyone else is an idiot, not me. I put $5,000 in Doge, and now I've got nearly $1 million. I just became rich overnight. This will never end. This can only do better. And that whole system, the cryptocurrency system, for the billionaires who use it to launder money and flush money through it and be able to try and have the libertarian ANCAP dream of never having to worry about governments and other stuff like that, for them, they require millions and millions of rubes. They require millions of people to get in with small amounts of investments. They require the $100 first-time investors. They require the $1,000 first-time investors. They require the $10,000 safe investors, but they need you all. Because if you don't pour all that money in initially, they can't pour all of theirs out. Then there would be absolutely nothing to exchange it for. So when that happens, they pull out, and it's all those people left behind who are the ones who are ultimately going to be like, fucked, it's a Ponzi scheme. It's a last man standing scheme. That's what it is. So Elon Musk says, rolling out soon, Twitter will enable organizations to identify which other Twitter accounts are actually associated with them. John Klaus says, will any user be able to be/create an organization, or will Twitter be an arbiter of what constitutes an organization? Ultimately, I think there is no choice but for Twitter to be the final arbiter, but I'm open to suggestions. This was again predicted by Sean. Musk's basic problem is that Twitter was not being run by lefty social justice warrior types suppressing free speech. It was being run by business people who were trying to make money. With the same aim, he'll end up trial and erroring his way back to their exact policies. A series of, oh, so that's why they were doing it moments. It's entirely true. Like, it was never a whole bunch of SJWs. You were lied to. You were memed. Like, you bought into the memes, and you thought you would come on and be this arbiter of free speech. You'd be like, yeah, it's going to be epic, blah, blah, blah. And as soon as you got in there, and it's like, yeah, I'm going to bring Donald Trump back, all the advertisers are like, okay, so we're not going to advertise then. Like, we don't want chaos energy. I mean, maybe the mobile apps will, but like, no, Coca-Cola does not need you to figure out how to do this for the first time. That's why Coca-Cola is not on Parler. So, no, if you want to put this into the hands of someone more confident or someone who actually knows what they're doing, maybe we could talk about that. But God damn, this does not look good. Elon bought the dip. I mean, he fooled everyone to get the dip is the other fucked up thing. No, I guess I didn't have a chance to say this, but also still pretty funny. Glenn Greenwald. Note that nothing has changed on Twitter. No rules are different. I have high levels of skepticism about whether much will change beyond a few symbolic gestures, unbanning Babylon Bee, etc. But just the mere possibility that Twitter may censor less is driving liberals mad. That's how it started versus how it's going. There's a verified account using my name that is clearly a liberal, bashing me for insufficiently fealty to the Dems, and is basically nothing but a mountain of every sick anti-gay trope, fundraising for NAMBLA, seeking kids to date, poison my husband because he got too old, etc. By the way, I was retweeting the fake Glenn Greenwald account back when it was active, before it was roasted. Never once mentioned poisoning the husband. That wasn't one of the tweets that I made. So, I mean, I'm gonna chalk this one up to Glenn is just stating all the potential terrible tropes that someone could say if they were a homophobic liberal. That would make sense. That would definitely be where you're like, ah, okay, yeah. But that's where I'll file this one under for now. But it is weird thing to think and or say when the account itself wasn't doing it. But I'll say in good faith. I think that's probably because he was naming just horrifying homophobic potential stereotypes, rather than actually. Yeah, we'll stay there. It's gonna be my safe space.
Do you enjoy the Serfs but prefer not to have to use your eyeballs? Many are saying this. Well, we've got the solution for you. It's the Serf Times in podcast form, available on most major podcasting networks now. If you enjoy it, please consider leaving a good review and feedback because it really helps the show out, apparently, and it's free, just like the podcast.
To our gods, Xander Corvus and Peyton L. Juste, we shall spend many a generations building mighty cathedrals in your honor. To our monarch, Tom Spiker, we are but your oafish jesters, here to offer you a laugh at any opportunity. To our brave knights of the Round Table, Rachel K., Izzy Solidarity, Victoria Bell, Sebastian Demmel, Mark Harmon, Benji Arney, Scary Earth Human, Tony, DM Rivera, Resident Scarecrow, Sir Nickus, Cheryl Alvarez, Ruby Kelly, Brandon, Words Greenwood, Everything Important, Hegbert Celine, Matthew Scarborough, Stellar Vision, Ariane McCarthy, Doug Cady, Daniel Sutton, Jenna Tao, Dark Puppy, Quiet One 85, Anna Loves Riley, Omni, Riley and Anna, Poodlehawk, Multimondi, Trevbot EXE, Brian Ephraim, Anthropophojak, Catherine, Ramon Acosta, Nkosin, Ralph Parler, Violent Orchard, Political Puppy, La Media Panza, Todd Buckingham, and Todd La Jeunesse. We salute our valiant heroes off to fight injustice everywhere.